This week on Socratic Cinema, drones,
Believe in yourself.
fight the drones, Peter Tingles.
Peter Tingles, Tingles.
Okay, listen, right, grow up. Tom Holland, Spider-Man wouldn't get bullied because everyone at that school is smart and rich, and right, he goes to like tech magnet school, and they're all like mathletes and hot,
Yeah.
right. So he's
No, because this is the fun thing about going to a theater with James. There are rules, all right, and you gotta follow them. Otherwise, you're gone. You're out. You never go to a movie with him again.
I want to take you back to, let's say 2006. I'm 6 years old. I'm 3 years old. I wasn't born in the year 2000. Let me take you back to more realistically around 2008 or 9. Now I'm around 6. Now I watch Spider-Man, directed by Sam Raimi's, starring Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and Willem Dafoe. And my life is forever changed from that moment on. Skip forward a few more years. I'd say I'm around 9 or 10 at this point. It's 2012, and The Amazing Spider-Man starring Andrew Garfield releases in theaters. My mom won't let me go see it on opening night because she thinks I'm too young, and she heard the lizard was pretty scary, so I wasn't allowed, and I had to wait a little bit. After about a week of me pestering her, she gives in, and my life is again forever changed. Flash forward a few more years, I see Spider-Man Homecoming in the theaters, and we're not going to inflame anybody, and we're just going to kind of start skipping ahead.
Good choice.
Flash forward a few more years, and the Socratic Cinema podcast starts. And our 5th episode is the great Spider-Man debate, where I single-handedly dismantle everything standing in my way.
Inaccurate.
To definitively prove that
Fake news.
bozos who like Tom Holland are wrong and Tobey Maguire's the best one.
I don't speak idiot. Can you re-say that line?
Far From Home comes out, disappointment across the board. Into the Spider-Verse comes out, our channel becomes the most successful channel on planet Earth, and now we're here in 2021 talking about one more Spider-Man, one last ride. Thank you all for joining me tonight. It's another episode of the Socratic Cinema podcast. You know what's coming. This is big. We're in the big leagues now. My name is James DeLisio.
And I'm Kasey Clark.
I'm Charlie Heatherly.
And today, I have the absolute delight of introducing our discussion of Spider-Man No Way Home. Clap it up, ladies and gentlemen. We made it. Big day here. Big day.
Wow.
That felt monumental.
This is a big moment.
Very.
Spider-Man, we owe our collective careers to Spider-Man.
Career is a funny word to use there.
If you think about it, we owe, we owe everything to our patrons, and then after that, we owe everything else to Spider-Man. So this is, okay, context. We just saw this movie.
Yeah.
We're sitting in Charlie's basement. All is right with the world. Riley's here. All hands on deck for this one. We just saw this movie. It was the earliest possible showtime I could find.
We got those tickets.
We got those tickets. Snagged
Third
them.
row.
Absolutely champion behavior. And now we're here, right? Hot off the press. We made a pledge as soon as the credits rolled not to talk about anything. We broke it a little bit, but
Several times.
we
broke
saved
more
most
than a
of,
little.
We saved this is just about as raw of a reaction to this movie as you are ever gonna get. And with that, I would like to throw it to Charlie to give us his initial impressions.
That's a jerk move to make me speak first.
Someone had to fall.
Someone
on
had to
the
do
sword.
it. So there was a lot of hype going into this movie. There was a lot of rumors going into this movie.
There was.
Who's in it? Are there more Spider-Man? Or by the way, spoilers. Tons.
Yes.
Start there. Yeah.
So many spoilers.
So many spoilers.
Just the most.
I'm about to spoil a really big thing, and we're going to repeatedly spoil very big things. So please, 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 if you want to avoid spoilers, don't watch this.
Or listen to it.
Or listen to it if you are feeling a little frisky. But that being said, there are 3 Spider-Men in this movie. There are 6 sinister villains.
Are there?
Probably.
There's 5.
I never
we
did
didn't
well
get
in
to
math.
the Sinister Six.
No,
yet.
not quite.
Were there only 5? Really?
There's only 5.
I wasn't counting.
I mean, at this rate, I really don't know why they didn't just pluck like
This,
some like the Rhino or like
Yeah.
why why?
Where's Vulture? Right?
They might as well have
In
gone for
prison.
6.
In prison.
You know what? You know who was in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Homecoming? Scorpion. Where the hell is he?
Where
What?
is he?
Mac
Oh,
Gargan
yeah.
has been in the MCU for like 10 years, and Marvel's just sitting
done
on
nothing
him.
with it.
Thank God, because we didn't need another character in this movie. There was tons of them. But
Right.
that being said, this lives up to the hype. Absolutely. I think this was an incredibly entertaining Spider-Man film. There's always going to be the debate about which one's the best one. I don't think this is the best Spider-Man film, but James might throttle me for this. I'm going to put it at number 2. Right behind Into the Spider-Verse. I like me a Spider-Man crossover. This felt like a celebration of what it means to be Spider-Man, of Spider-Man in the way he's been portrayed in cinema. It felt like a lot of love was put into this movie. Not only do you get really cool action scenes, you get really heartfelt moments. I think lots of times where some of us were near to tears, and sometimes where some of us did openly weep. Looking at you, Riley, bawling in the theater.
Dang, call him out.
I got close. But I think you should absolutely see this movie. I think it's incredibly entertaining. I'm feeling good about the MCU. I was a little scared after Eternals that we were really going in a direction I did not like. But now I think we're back on track. So if I had to give this a cinematic rating, I'm going to give it an 8.5. Like, this is what I think of it as, like a film, probably.
Wow.
But if I had to give it an enjoyment rating, and this is taking into account my theater experience with the crowd, 10 out of 10. That was super fun. Really, really, really entertaining. Good job, Mr. John Watts.
Kasey?
Wow, yeah. Charlie hit it out of the park
Yeah.
for real.
Excellent job.
Yeah,
man.
excellent job.
Really, really.
Oh my goodness. This movie has been on my mind for so long.
Voice is wavering. We're getting emotional.
I'm getting emotional. Oh my goodness. I've been avoiding spoilers like crazy since the first leak started coming out. And I was like, you know what? That's enough Twitter for the day. And then I didn't want to sully this movie experience. And I'm so glad that I was able to avoid all of the spoilers that I could, because experiencing this movie the way that we did is amazing. There's only been a few movies that I've gone to see in theaters, and it's been that and the crowd has been super interactive, and it's probably have been like Infinity War, Endgame, and then Rise of Skywalker. This experience in the theater probably tops all of those.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
great.
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we just had bad theaters for Endgame, but this totally blows
Oh,
that
this
out
totally
of the park.
blows it out of the water.
Okay. Endgame was the best for me, but this one was great too.
Yeah, even I think maybe they might flip-flop for me a little bit. But this movie, there's so much to say. It was emotional, it was nostalgic, it was amazing. Like, I feel like it was, as Charlie said, like a celebration of Spider-Man. Like, I feel like it put to bed a lot of these debates that have been having online that even we have participated in.
Yep.
Sure have.
Justice for Andrew Garfield. Justice.
No.
I'm with you, girlfriend.
So actually, he was probably my favorite Spider-Man in this movie.
sure.
Out of the three of them, but I think that Casey's right. The point is that all the Spider-Man fans can unite now.
yes.
Hand
Yes,
in hand.
hand
this,
in hand.
This should be a rallying point.
Yeah.
This should not divide us.
No more
Yes.
debate. They're all together. They all liked each other. They played nice.
Exactly. And there was some concerns with all the villains that we were expecting to see. I thought it was going to be all bad. I thought we were going to get a Spider-Man 3 where we know what happened. We
Oh,
don't need
yeah.
to rehash it.
Yep.
But overall, enjoyment, same as Charlie, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. And then I think for theater, I'd give it like a 9. And that's including rewatchability.
Okay.
Fair. Definitely fair.
Fair. I'm going to say this.
All right, everybody get your pitchforks ready. On my count, if he
Torches.
says something
Listen,
stupid,
listen.
we stab him.
Listen. It took Marvel 3 movies and a whole lot of years, but when I say Marvel, I mean Disney. But I think they finally figured out Spider-Man. I think they finally got it. I genuinely listen, it's nothing against Tom Holland. I just don't love his movies. But this movie genuinely was, I mean, it ticked everything. It ticked all the boxes for what I need a good Spider-Man story to be. I really have very little negatively to say, which is sort of unexpected for the Marvel Spider-Man and me. I mean, of course, I loved seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the movie, especially Andrew Garfield. I think he was.
He stole the show.
He
the scene
did.
he's in,
I
definitely.
rewatched Amazing Spider-Man a couple days ago. Andrew might be my favorite.
Whoa.
Andrew might
Wait,
which is
That's a
whoa.
complete.
I know.
Are you the
Character
James we went
development?
into the theater with?
I know.
This-
I know.
Well, this might be a multiverse.
Somebody call Doctor Strange.
Someone call
Listen,
Doctor
listen.
Strange.
Andrew's-
This James has a goatee.
Andrew's got something going on. He I love the way maybe he's not objectively the best. I don't know how you can even say that about anything. But I just love the way Andrew plays him. He plays him a little quirky, plays him a little weird.
Yes.
And I appreciate that.
I love it.
But this film, not gonna lie, for the first half, I was having a great old fun time, but I still had that sort of feeling of However, after a very pivotal, spoilery moment, I feel like that was the moment where I was like, okay, Marvel understands.
Mhm.
Like they know what this needs to be.
And what was that moment? Because we've already said
Right.
spoilers.
It was the moment where where Aunt May. Sorry, you got Mays, you got M.A.
Yeah, lots of
It's
Ms.
hard. It's hard.
Lots
It's
of
hard.
M's.
You get the part where Marissa Tomei dies.
Yeah, they did it.
That
They committed.
They committed this.
I thought it was a fake out.
I thought it was a fake out too, and I was about to be really mad. There's a
Yeah.
couple points in this movie where I thought there were going to be fake outs. Marvel didn't pull their punches this time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is honestly my biggest complaint with Holland Spider-Man movies is that nothing bad ever happens to him.
A lot of bad stuff
Dang,
happened here.
His father
Yeah.
figure.
No. In this one,
Okay.
I feel like
I count Tony as
he
something.
ain't really
bad
have that
happening
much
to him.
like in the way of consequences. Because to me, a big part of Spider-Man is that it sucks balls to be Spider-Man. Like
That's true.
Yeah.
Being Spider-Man consistently ruins everything about your life, but you keep doing it because it's the right thing to do. That's like Spider-Man to me. And I just felt like Tom Holland never really had to deal with that. This movie gets that really right to me. Of course, it doesn't get it right in the same way that, I mean, it's not the same kind of interfering with your life as Maguire had to deal with. It's not like Tom Holland's late on paying rent because he's Spider-Man. In this
Yeah.
Not
case,
yet.
it's a lot more cosmic and big and Marvel because, that's how it is. But still, there's a lot of very real consequences of that Peter has to face in this movie. And Marvel doesn't go back and say, oh, but it's okay, and we undo it all, and everyone lives happily ever after. Like, this movie has a sense of weight that I think was missing from the other ones. And on top of that, it's just a spectacle. Like, it's just a delight.
Mhm.
It's really a treat. And I'm just gonna give it a flat 10. I'm not gonna clarify cinema or enjoyment because I
Wow.
feel like with this
Wow.
one, those are the same thing to me.
All right.
With such a personal movie. So I'm gonna give it a 10.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't
Tens
know.
across the board.
Where do we start from here?
I sort of have a point about the consequences because what I thought was really interesting and what I think is actually very true is that when you try and solve a problem when you're in an emotional state, it often ends up getting worse. And even if you do solve it after, it is much, much worse of an outcome than if you just let it go.
Yeah.
Right? Like in this case, everyone finds out that he's Spider-Man and they don't get into MIT. And like, that's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like half the people hate him, but he was already sort of dealing with that. But the big thing is that they don't get into MIT. Now, when he tries to fix that, all of a sudden his friends and his girlfriend don't even know who he is anymore.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Right. I would have just took that initial L.
Yeah.
Like-
I would have just took the initial L. But
Go
like,
to a JC
Respectfully
and transfer
grow
later.
up. Yeah.
no, but like I thought that was so interesting that he had to deal with that and that they decided to go with that route instead of everything being like a happy, like, here's a nice little bow on the end of Tom Holland's trilogy. It was like monumental things have occurred, and somehow, even though he's in a deeper place than or a darker place than where he once was, he feels more mature. It feels like he finally, you're right, became Spider-Man.
Right. It's a very Spider-Man ending to the movie. I mean, you look at the end of Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire, that ends with his father figure dying and him having to turn down Mary Jane. You look at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 1, that ends with him it ends with his father figure dying and he has to leave Gwen Stacy. You look at Amazing Spider-Man 2, like Spider-Man movie endings, I feel like traditionally have been very melancholic, like we've won but at what cost kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just feel like Holland's finally there. Like he feels like a much more mature hero now. Whereas up till now, it's felt very like, la la la, I'm Spider-Man in Europe. I'm Spider-Man fighting the Vulture. And now it's like, damn it, I'm Spider-Man. You know?
And I think that that's really important that he was able to be so stupid and without consequences for a little bit. Because I also think that that's sort of a part of what the fantasy of Spider-Man is, right? And I don't think that this movie would have hit as hard if we hadn't seen him just sort of live in this carefree state where like he's fighting relatively small scale
I'll
stuff.
give you that. I'll agree that this hits much harder. Like it feels like he finally matured a little bit. It feels like you're right. It wouldn't have paid off that much. It wouldn't have hit as hard to see him finally have to like face the music a little bit if it hadn't been so carefree. And I was worried that No Way Home was going to be silly goofy as well. Like, especially with the trailer. I think the trailer really misleads with the tone of the movie.
For sure.
Because the trailer was like, whoop, we messed up the goofy magic spell. Now you got to go hunt down the... right?
Yeah, gotta go catch them all.
Right, but whereas the film is actually a lot... first of all, it doesn't feel as contrived. Like, in the trailer, it sort of felt like, okay, we need some excuse to get all these villains in here. Okay, Doctor Strange does a spell. Sure, like that works. It felt like it happened just to happen. It really does feel a lot more natural in the actual movie. So
yeah,
definitely, because that was a thing I saw a lot of people were worried about. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But I want to ask you guys, did you think? How do I frame this question? Did you feel like the villains were convincing?
Ooh.
Mm.
Kasey, go for it. I gotta take on this.
Because this is something I thought about.
Ooh, I think so. I feel like they kept the villains apart from maybe Electro pretty like in the same lane as they were in their original movies. Like you could tell the Lizard was the Lizard. He didn't really have any like major shifts in personality. Same with like Doc Ock and Osborn. Like there wasn't any like major shifts where it's like, he like they wouldn't do that outside of their universe, like outside of their movie. Like everything that Osborn did in this movie, I could totally see him doing in like one of the OG Spider-Man movies. I do think it's convincing, and I feel like they did it. I think they did it pretty well, considering that they were dealing with five villains. Yeah, we agree 5. Like there wasn't too much time spent on trying to delve into all of them, because there's already this expectation that we know what happens to them and we already have like some knowledge of who they are. I felt like it was very well done that they kind of glossed over like, oh yeah, he's from like this universe, then they know each other. I feel like them adding in that the villains knew each other was very, very important, because you would get like exposition from the villains instead of having it have to be like found out and have it go all through this like entire story either then that would take time away from the other universe Spider-Man, or
they cut time somewhere.
So I feel like it was handled way better than it has been, but
that's okay.
I think that Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin and Andrew Molina, it's Andrew, right? Or is it
I think so.
Alfred Molina.
We've just been informed.
A mysterious voice from the ether has told us it's Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. they steal the show. They are some of the most entertaining parts of this movie, and I think specifically Willem Dafoe is terrifying.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
So good, so menacing. It made me like, I've been thinking about this question recently. Like, I have a favorite movie. I don't have a favorite actor. And I think Willem Dafoe
It's
might
Willem
be
Dafoe.
that actor. He hits so hard in every single role that he does. And especially in this movie,
Yeah.
you get like an actual like horror side of Green Goblin
Yeah.
that was
Yes.
so satisfying to see. So for me, those two villains, the ones that I consider probably the most important, were very fleshed out and felt very real.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think Electro was. I sort of want to put a little bit of the blame on Jamie Foxx. I think that Jamie Foxx just
Ray
didn't
Fisher?
want to come back. Yeah, get Ray
Racial
Fisher just in
motivated,
case.
Charlie, come on, bro.
Listen carefully.
Well, to me, I think that Jamie Foxx really did not like the way they treated Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Which is fair, totally fair. But he's just so disconnected from what that character was. You get no semblance of
Mhm.
like anything that happened there. They like gave Jamie Foxx a new haircut, and he's like, "I'm a new man now."
yeah.
I
all
got-
swagger.
Yeah, yellow electricity,
Yeah.
as he said.
Instead of blue.
Instead of blue. But like, he was not very convincing at all. And then I feel like you don't need to do anything with Lizard or Sandman. Like, they're
Yeah.
It's Jamie. I think Electro is sort of he's the most like. It comes through the clearest with him because, like you said, he's not. It doesn't feel like he's playing Electro. It feels like he's playing Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Like he's just being Jamie Foxx, which like love Jamie Foxx, but it's very far removed from what Electro was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I feel like Lizard and I was running into this problem where I was like, why do you want to fight Spider-Man? Why, like what?
He wanted to make people lizards.
Well, right,
Spider-Man said
cause-
no.
yeah, they don't like Spider-Man.
Well, because I mean, but it's like Lizard was healed by Spider-Man by the end of his movie. Sandman was Spider-Man's buddy by the end of his movie. And
Yeah.
this isn't trying to be a critique. I get that they had the whole element of like, well, they don't want to go back to their universe and die. It's like, that works for Norman. That works for Electro. That works for Doc Ock. That doesn't work for Lizard or Sandman because they didn't die. Like, Lizard and Sandman, I feel like, are just kind of there.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But I feel like also when they got pulled into the next into the Holland universe, they were like middle of the movies that they were in.
I think that was like,
Yeah, no, they're not healed at
They're
the time
not
that
healed
they're
at the
in.
time. So when like they're the like overarching statement that all of the people here die by Spider-Man was said, then it's like, okay,
Oh, yeah,
well, I don't want to go back and die.
Yeah, because so Lizard, they would know.
lives because Electro is after. Electro
No, he
knows,
said that Lizard dies.
well, he lied because he doesn't
he?
die. No, I just watched the movie.
Okay.
He lives.
So he just lied about that, I guess. But
Yeah.
but
Dang.
Sandman, at least he would be the last one because he was in 3.
Right. So
Right?
they don't know.
Yeah, and
So-
he just
so
wants
Sandman
to go
thinks
back
that
to
he's
his
dying.
daughter.
Right.
And
sure.
And also they can't separate it, so they can't like just send 2 of them back.
Yeah. I
Uh,
get that, but it's like I don't know that the Lizard and Sandman would be like my villain buddies will die if you send. Like I don't think they'd care.
They
so,
don't care.
I mean, that was a little. I think I did. Probably my one critique is I did run into some trouble where it's like when you bring in characters from all these different movies, it's hard to balance motivations, right? And it's hard to make it feel plausible. But at the end of the day, like so much else of this is so impressive that I really am not gonna like get stuck on that because Lizard and Sandman are really just there as like set pieces more than anything.
Yeah. Out of 5, there's got to be 1 or 2 that just fall in
Right.
the background.
And they're flat characters initially.
And
Like,
okay,
That's true.
well, I just
That's
okay.
true.
Lizard is a boring villain.
I disagree. I like the Lizard.
No, you didn't.
I
You're
feel like all
lying.
of these villains in their own movie are good and have like these really personal motivations to not like Spider-Man.
Sandman was a good villain, is what you're
Sandman
telling
was
me.
probably the worst of the 5 they put in this movie, I'd say.
I would also
I
say Lizard is a bad villain.
I wish that Sandman, they really, because they, at the beginning, they were trying to give him like do you remember me, like trying to make him like an ally to Peter.
Well,
and then he was like, actually,
here's
screw
my
that.
here's my thing. Here's the thing. When Sandman first pops up in this movie, he's like, "Oh, Peter, like we're homies," which implies that is at the end of Spider-Man 3, where he is homies with Spider-Man in that
Oh.
movie, and therefore he knows that his ass is alive. Speaking of which, this leads me to another point. I think it's very smart of Marvel to take Doc Ock out of the equation fairly early on.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
Yes.
I genuinely think it would have been too busy. Because, I mean, you have Green Goblin as your main villain, and Doc Ock is arguably like second priority. I think if you had both of them sort of like fighting for this final moment fight, it wouldn't have.
It wouldn't, no.
So I'm glad they made Doc Ock a good guy, and I feel like he deserved redemption the most.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, he was set up the most for it in Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
If I'm correct. I need to get all these numbers right, otherwise
Right.
people will get mad. But like he redeems himself at the end of that movie, but
Oh, yeah.
he dies in the process.
Sure, yeah, I
Right?
Yeah.
believe so.
So this was like where he actually gets to live and actually gets to make a positive impact. And I
Yeah.
think that really fits for his character as well.
Yeah, so I thought that was very wise
Definitely.
of them to
Mhm.
do.
Quick question about Doc Ock. So I saw this online and it like actually made me sit and think. So Doc Ock is a regular man with tentacles, right? So Spider-Man.
Where are we going?
Spider-Man
I
has
want to
spider
make so many
strength.
jokes.
So in what world is Doc Ock taking punches from someone like as a regular man from Spider-Man who has like super strength? That man's jaw would be broken.
Oh, I see what you're
Right?
saying.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Actually a
Can we-
take. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, that is a great take. How in the world?
That's kind of how I felt about when he was fighting Green Goblin in this movie, and they were like
Bro,
smashing
Willem
through
was
floors.
putting the mitts to him.
Well, doesn't he have super strength? Like Green Goblin's
Yeah,
one of his
the, like,
powers
I
is super
mean,
goblin-
strength.
but like not.
Yeah, it's like a whole Jekyll
But
and
like
Hyde
Jekyll
thing.
and Hyde, yeah.
It really? I
Yeah.
feel like in the movie, I don't remember him being like that strong.
Bro, he
'Cause
put him
He was
through.
beefy, dude.
I know. I was like, what is happening here?
That fight
Um,
scene when Spider-Man's like Black Widowing him and just keeps
That-
like
oh
hitting him and
that
he's
was
just
so
like
good.
Let me
smiling.
say, I've been yearning. I've been yearning
Fiending.
for a good final fight. I love a
Yes.
final duel. And I feel like Far From Home didn't really have that because it's just like, big drones.
Oh,
Drones.
Mysterio,
Believe in
oh.
yourself.
Fight the drones. Peter Tingles.
Peter Tingles.
Use your tingles. Okay, listen, you're right. Grow up. Homecoming, I feel like, had that a little bit, but Homecoming is pretty good. Hi, Alfred.
Guys, we have a special guest
Oh my
appearance by
God.
my
You know-
dog.
you know, it just is what it is at this point.
It is what it is.
But this movie had a good and honest final fight. Mano a mano.
Muy bien.
Going at
Mono
it.
E trace.
I like, and let me say, possibly my favorite part of this movie is that we saw Tom Holland's Spider-Man get to be an emotion other than just, oh, Mr. Stark, which is much needed
Wow.
in my opinion.
Wow.
Because
No, he was about to kill
He's had
that
this.
man.
Did you not watch the first Tom Holland Spider-Man Homecoming?
I had the okay, I will say
That was such a powerful moment when he is underneath the rubble.
yes. I was about
And
to
he
bring
has
this
to
up.
pick himself
I was
up.
about to bring this up because
That was
that's
very
my
good.
favorite Holland scene. That is
So good.
that is Kino. But
Kino?
Kino.
What does that mean?
Quinoa?
Kino. Kino. It means like a really good movie.
Oh, that's like a smart person word.
Oh, okay.
Kind
Goes
thought
to
it was
college,
I
think
thought
he
it was
can
a
use
healthy
fancy
grain.
words.
It's from like some German word that means movie. It's like kinography or something. I don't really
Okay.
know, but I know
All
I know
right.
Kino. Anyways, I love that we get to see Tom Holland really like struggle and wrestle with things and like have emotions.
I don't think
Um,
James has actually seen the first two Tom Holland Spider-Man movies.
In fairness, I've seen each of them once. Because okay, and also I'm a sucker for a more tormented Peter Parker, as you all clearly can tell. And I love that Andrew Garfield does that. I love
Oh,
Andrew
yeah.
Garfield's take on Andrew Garfield's Peter
was-
is going through it, and
The
I'm
entire time in this movie and in
and
his
it makes for
movies.
good drama.
Mhm.
And I feel like it was really good that we got like Tom Holland is such a bubbly, like charming actor. I liked seeing him like really like have a little bit of a edgy moment. Like that's welcome to
Yeah.
me. I almost wish they leaned in more to it. Like
I think they leaned in pretty hard.
He was about to
through it.
impale him.
No, because
Yeah.
what I thought was about to happen, what I was predicting was right when Aunt May died, and all the cops are like surrounding him. I thought he was about to go full on like vengeance mode and just like wipe all the
Kaneki.
cops.
Why would he kill the cops?
Not kill him, but I thought he was gonna like beat him up and web him up. You know?
Oh, that
Like,
was my favorite thing, by the way, that Spider-Man took a bullet and they just like let
glossed
that slide.
over that a little
Yeah,
I
bit.
they're like,
know,
oh, he was
like-
shot by
that
the
was,
way.
you know,
It was
no
them
biggie.
saying, "Get out with your hands up, or we will open fire," and then open fire.
Yeah.
I don't know, meta commentary here.
Like, for real.
But no, I was
On
expecting
the
like,
white Spider-Man. Sorry.
No, Casey.
Not
we
even
were all
Miles.
we were all thinking of the joke, and we all agreed not
we
to
bit
say
our
it.
tongue, Casey.
I won't.
Silence is violence. But I wanted him to let loose a little more. I thought that was gonna be a little like, oh, he's bad now.
You
So you
just
wanted Willem to bleed before
No, I'm saying
Toby was like,
I'm
hey,
saying
hey.
because I mean, there's like we saw Andrew Garfield being like, dare I say, a bad person in his movie. Like he abused those powers at first. He was
he was
tormenting
mollywopping
people,
folks.
and I thought I was gonna get an angry Tom Holland like lash out at these guys. Because I mean, look, your aunt just died, and then these cops who've been hassling you the entire movie are here again, and you're like, dude, my aunt just died. Like I'm upset, and I thought he was gonna go ham on him, and he didn't, and I'm not that mad. But it just
I am very glad that Peter Parker, Tom Holland, did not kill the police.
I'm not asking him to kill them.
seriously maim the police.
No, just like web them up or something, like do some spider action. Anyways, that's a very minor point. It's just something I thought that was going to happen that didn't. There's a lot more that I'm happy about that I'm not happy about with this movie. So I really got to search for the content here.
I just think that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has always captured something that I feel like the other two don't have. And that's not to say that the other two are bad. The best part about having multiple actors play the same characters is it's like Spider-Man's a prism, right? And each of these actors is like a different kind of light that you're holding Spider-Man through.
Right.
And you're getting these different
And-
interpretations. And Tom Holland's, to me, always felt the closest to, pun incoming, home when it comes to me feeling like a high schooler and going through that very transformative period in my life. Like when he had to deal with like college apps,
Sure.
that was cool to me.
I'll agree with you there. I think that was good.
When in the first movie he had to find someone to take to homecoming,
Yeah, that's good.
that was cool to
That's
me.
good. That's good
And
stuff.
that's why I've always connected with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, is because to me he feels like he has the naivete down so right. And I'm glad that this movie, James is entirely right. We finally get to see that like bite him. Another pun.
Spider bite.
I'm on fire
Yeah,
today,
we
guys.
are rolling
But
with
like
it.
we finally got to see like the guy that wants to fix everything but acts completely on emotion finally screw up in a major way
Right.
that like daddy can't come and solve for him.
Right.
Oh, Daddy Star.
If this movie had ended with, oh, Aunt May's alive. Oh, we found a way to not have to do the spell, which was not, in my opinion, was not out of the realm of possibility. Like that felt like a very real thing Marvel would have done, and I wouldn't have been surprised. I would have probably liked it a lot less.
In universe, if you can make a forgetting spell, you can make a remember spell. Just saying.
Right.
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
So it's like I'm really hoping that they don't go backsies on any of this, because if they go backsies on this, I think that'll retroactively change my opinion.
Mhm.
But because as it is right now, one of my favorite parts about this movie is that it doesn't pull its punches. Like it's like yeah, Spider-Man. Like being Spider-Man isn't so great now, huh? Like you have to deal with this now. And I really hope that, because I hope this isn't a spoiler, it's been confirmed that Holland is signing on for another trilogy.
Of Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
So
trilogy.
4, 5, 6 is happening. I really hope.
What's all this Holland BS of him being like, I'm gonna buy an apartment building and then sell it off to people at a lower value? Like he was saying that in press tours. Like, I don't know if I want to play Spider-Man anymore.
Well, I think
Signs on for another trilogy.
I get it. I get it. I mean, it's like he doesn't want to be the next Daniel Radcliffe, you know?
Oh man.
Hold on.
That was uncalled
Alfred's making
for.
another crossing, and he almost did it without stepping on any of the cables.
Wow.
That was really impressive, almost.
Alfred, you're special.
Yeah, Alfred is our Spider-Man because he saves people.
Come on, Alfie. Cooperate.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, James. I feel like the end of the movie set up this whole new era of Spider-Man.
Right.
Like, he's on his own.
I want to.
He's living in this janky apartment.
Spider-Man 4, Home Alone.
No.
Yep. You heard it here first.
Macaulay Culkin.
I hope they get rid of the home thing for the next trilogy.
The what thing?
I hope they get rid of the home thing for the next trilogy.
Homesick.
I think they will.
I think the next trilogy should like be a new thing.
I think they're gonna do it because like the way they position themselves is I think that they were painting themselves into a corner with Spider-Man, and this was like their reset button, right?
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
we could just tell an entirely different
Literally.
story.
Yeah.
I think one that's more mature. And
Yeah.
maybe they always had that plan. Maybe that's like their big vision is that this is the Spider-Man that you get to explore the most with because there's so many movies to do it. So while each movie individually feels like he goes through less of an arc, when you put it all together, it's like this
Sure.
very, very big thing.
I hope so. I really hope so. Because I genuinely, if this was their master plan, that sounds kind of cool to me. I just felt like in the back hour and a half of this movie, we got so much of what I've been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
like Spider-Man using the police scanner to like see
Yeah.
where the crimes are. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's
Spider-Man in a suit that he made
in a
himself.
red and blue suit that he sewed together.
It's shiny.
I'm
it's
like,
shiny.
how? Like, we're here. Like,
We made
we've
it.
arrived. That's like, it took them this long, but I feel like they've landed on something solid now, and I'm really happy. And I just like, part of me is just glad we're finally here, but another part of me is sort of mad. Like, why couldn't we have gotten here a little sooner? But
Yeah.
I'll admit, it does feel really good to be so frustrated with this for so long and to finally come to a place where I'm like, now he's learned. It's like if you took what's normally the arc of the first Spider-Man movie and
Mhm.
spread it out over 3 movies.
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And I think that's interesting.
It is interesting. I agree. It's very interesting.
I feel like it's also interesting because Spider-Man is a pretty big player in like the Avengers verse.
Yeah.
And then as the Avengers verse is now kind of going into being more like cosmic, more like multidimensional, he's going back to being like friendly neighborhood.
Because you know what I just remembered that I'm really happy about now?
Matt Murdock. Oh, sorry.
None of the Avengers know who Peter,
Peter Parker is.
Oh my God.
We're finally gonna
Friendly.
get the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man we were promised in Homecoming.
Exactly.
I cannot
yeah.
wait.
Thank the Lord.
Because that was always something I was this has happened a few times with Marvel where they like say something and then immediately go back on it. Like Iron Man 3. I'm done being Iron Man. Man. Okay. Yeah.
Someone kidnapped Pepper.
Right. Yeah. Or Spider-Man Homecoming. I think I'm just going to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. 2 movies later, he's on the moon, right? Fighting Thanos. So
That's super funny. Come on. That's really cool.
I don't
That
think
he's
that's
like,
intentional.
No, it's totally intentional.
That was not like I don't think that was an intentional joke. I think that was genuinely like, I don't know. I feel like that was frustrating to me.
This is another cool Spider-Man thing that I think they did. I think that pairing Spider-Man with Tony Stark, I know James is really against it. I think it's super cool. Like, it's showing us a really interesting relationship between this guy that has always tried, like, really Tony Stark is at the other end of the arc.
Yeah.
Right? Because Tony Stark's whole thing is that he's also been struggling to be really, really mature. And it wasn't until he had his Iron Man 3 moment to where he could finally take the arc reactor out of his chest and like man up a little bit and figure himself out. And we get to see him at that point coaching Spider-Man, who we now know was sort of going through that a little bit. I sort of wish that we got some more progression inside of the Tony Stark era.
Sure. I just, in a much broader concept, like in an abstract way, I don't really like Spider-Man and Iron Man. I much prefer something like Spider-Man and Deadpool or Spider-Man and like Wolverine.
Spider-Man and Deadpool.
Because I don't know, to me, Spider-Man's got to be poor. Do you know what I mean?
He gotta
Really?
be fighting for
that's
his
a-
life, James.
I think Spider-Man being on his ass most of the time is pardon my language, is a very like crucial part of the character. I think that's
Okay, sure.
and
Keep
so
Spider-Man
and I feel like
impoverished.
this movie tried to make us believe that he's struggling financially when I don't believe it.
Why can't he just take Stark money?
Exactly.
Like, why can't, like,
Are you saying why is that problematic, or why is he saying he's poor when he has Stark money?
yeah, why is he saying he's poor?
That's
when
what
he has
I want to
Stark
know.
money?
This movie, he says at one point, "Oh, but I can't go to college because I'm poor."
They live in a swanky apartment.
I know. I was like, "What are you talking about, boy? Iron Man Jr., Avenger? What do you mean,
Yeah,
nanotech?
Literally just talk to, like, any of the Avengers and they got you.
Right? Like,
Except for Hawkeye.
But like they talked about this in Hawkeye, not Hawkeye, in the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They don't be paying heroes.
did they? Well,
yeah,
didn't
well,
they?
if you had watched it,
Yeah, I've seen it once. Didn't the Sokovia Accords like make them government agents though? No, listen, I don't
But
Look,
half
get a
of these
Nike
people didn't
deal,
sign
like, get a
that.
sponsorship.
listen. No. Yeah. I listen. There's you
Wow,
cannot convince me
gotta
these guys are
sell
not
out
rich.
Yeah,
to-
have you seen The Boys? Have either of you seen The Boys?
No. I don't-
Pull a The
Not all the
Boys
way.
and,
I don't
and
really-
literally
I don't
just
really
sell
like evil
yourself out.
Superman trope.
No, The Boys is great.
Sure, I'm sure it
You said
is.
no.
Oh, I love the
Omni-Man, then?
Invincible reference in
No.
this, by the way, where they hit Spider-Man with a train at
Oh,
one
yeah.
point.
Well, that's a Far From Home reference, my guy. This is the second movie in a row where he gets hit by a train.
For real, he
Damn.
just be getting
Darn.
But-
Spider-Man versus transportation.
What I was gonna say is one. I'm sorry. The heroes are rich. I refuse to believe they're not rich. I mean, Tony Stark alone got enough money for all of them.
and that's why Tony Stark's
Yeah.
selfish. Let's talk about it.
Well, like literally in the comics, he buys Area 51 when he says he's like bankrupt. Or,
Yeah.
or like when he's super poor, and they're like, Tony, you said you were super poor, and he's like, my definition of poor is different than your definition of poor,
Yeah,
which is the
listen,
most Tony Stark thing to ever say.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
the Avengers are they're at the very least comfortable, you know? Like I don't believe that this Peter Parker struggles until this movie. Right? But now he does. Now he does. Now he's in a musty apartment with that dude who wants his rent. Now he's got no Aunt May, no Hogan, no Happy. He's got no one. Now we got a Spider-Man on our hands. I'm so happy to finally be able to say this. We had Iron Man Jr. for 2 movies.
No,
Now we have
Wrong.
Spider-Man.
no.
Now we
I
have
don't agree
Spider-Man.
with that though. Not fully. I feel like
I'm being hyperbolic, but
no, yeah.
No,
I
he's
feel
not.
like you for sure like have your list, and I feel like there's a lot of things with Spider-Man that like some things, as proven by this movie,
I'll say my
some
list isn't
things
perfect.
can't
Sure, yeah.
right, but some things can't like happen until like something gets checked off the list. For example, like he wouldn't have gotten the development that he got in this movie if Aunt May hadn't died.
Yes.
Because we already had like, oh, you think like the father figure Tony Stark would fill that, like Uncle Ben,
But apparently it
but
didn't.
apparently not.
Man, he bounced
You-
right
you
back.
gotta lose
my
everything.
Boy, my boy was fine.
Right? He's like, oh, I got a gift. Okay, let's go.
Did you
that's the
guys
thing.
see the second movie in this trilogy? Like,
I did.
No, but
Don't
you're right that like that's another. I mean, that's a very Spider-Man thing. Is it always gets worse? Like
Yeah.
you really do. I mean, Andrew Garfield, my boy, is at rock bottom. Like,
Bro.
and that's just Andrew Garfield appreciation. He has my heart. I
Yes.
love his Spider-Man.
The conversation is like, I'm lame, guys, and they're like, you shut your mouth.
I know. I love this the Spider-Man love.
Spider-Man affirmation circle.
I also love that they kept his like Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker has a very specific weirdness
like, yeah.
that is different. Like Tobey Maguire's nerdy, right? He'd get bullied. Tom Holland Spider-Man wouldn't get bullied because everyone at that school is smart and rich and right. He goes to like tech magnet school and they're all like mathletes and hot
Yeah.
and right. So Tom Holland Spider-Man socially is fine.
wait, are you making fun of mathletes,
He's an
James?
athlete
No.
and
But what I'm
hot.
saying is Spider-Man.
Thank you.
Tom Holland goes to like the archetypal high school. Like everyone's so smart. Everyone's so like
conventionally attractive.
right. Tom Holland feels no social pressure at his high school until now, of course, because everyone knows he's Spider-Man.
He's always felt this social pressure. Like,
Right.
like
he sits by himself with Ned.
I don't
I
believe
don't
it.
know what I can tell you, James, because this is how the first 2 movies go. Like, it's literally the plot of the first 2 movies.
He hangs out with his hot, smart mathlete friends all the time. What do you mean?
They are not
didn't
hot,
get
smart
into
mathlete friends.
Anyways.
They were explicitly not popular.
Let me go back to my point.
Watch a movie for once in your
No,
life, James.
I won't.
It's your job.
I
We're on a
won't.
film podcast.
I won't. I
James
just.
said no. I don't think I will.
But anyways, Tobey Maguire is like nerdy, right? They all have different aspects of Spider-Man is where I was going until you decided to attack me. Tobey Maguire's nerdy. Tom Holland has like the boyness of Spider-Man, right? But I feel like Andrew Garfield tapped into a weirdness, like an off-puttingness. Like I am made uncomfortable by his Peter Parker. He's like because
James just wants to feel bad. Satisfaction is foreign.
What I mean is like no. And that's a
Spider-Man
good
realms.
thing, is what I mean. I like that Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker is like. I mean, people say, "Oh, he's too hot to be like Peter Parker," right?
Lies.
Well, I think Andrew Garfield's attractive.
No, he is, but
Yeah.
Spider-Man has always been hot.
Well, yeah,
Prove me wrong.
Right.
He literally, like, scientifically should have a 6-pack.
Right.
Literally.
But-
he wakes up and he looks down. Even in the comics, he's like, dang,
no.
I'm ripped.
Where I'm going with this is that I like all this roundabout talking to say Andrew Garfield plays him a little weird. Like he has weird tics and like he's like twitchy and he like talks weird and is awkward. And I love that they carried that into this one. Like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is like bumping into people, and when he's like doing his science stuff, he's like twitching his hand around, and like I just like that they preserved each of these Spider-Men very well.
Toby felt so flat in this.
Yeah, I was getting there. I was a little disappointed by Toby. I'm not gonna lie.
I was really
we love
disappointed.
you, Toby.
'Cause I love Toby.
No, I don't love Toby Maguire. Did you guys watch Molly's Game?
No, I
What would
literally
you bring
have
that up?
Toby Maguire is like proven a jerk in real life.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah,
and
that's
like
fair.
if I ever get to the point where I work with Toby Maguire, I will prove that to you guys. I'll challenge him to a poker game for you, and we'll see how jerky he is. But like
Oh my
I feel no
God.
sympathy for him.
You know who? Well, right. I'm not talking about Toby Maguire. I just mean I felt like his performance was not nearly as good as Andrew's.
And I think it's hard because they gave Andrew so much like emotional depth too. Like he is in
Yeah.
his feelings the entire time.
Yeah.
Like
and when he gets to
watching
save
when he
MJ,
gets to save
oh
MJ.
my gosh.
Okay, I want to actually talk about this because there was the rumor that everyone, I feel like, within that scene in the trailer was like, okay, what if Andrew saves her?
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been really, really good, like if they had moved around the movie in a way where that was the introduction to the Spider-Man.
Oh,
Because
whoa.
if you don't see them and then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, it's gonna happen again, knowing that it happened to
Right.
Gwen, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's Andrew and he saved her, and that's like the first introduction. I don't know, for me, I was just expecting that, but I came into the movie like that would be so cool, and then it was like, oh yay, they're all in Ned's house.
That would be cool, but then I feel like you get significantly less time with them because that's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
close to the end.
Well, it's
I would say you'd have to like move it,
Put that in the earlier
around,
fight
yeah.
or something.
So like
yeah.
if it was like, oh, they had like this pre-fight before the
Or they had a
big
pregame,
fight,
yeah.
where like even you could put like their conflicts of
Riley-
like we don't
Riley
know.
thought it was funny.
the goal of this podcast is to make Riley laugh, and if you can do that,
You win.
and if we get an
Yes.
audible on one of the mics,
Oh, yeah. Every time we make a joke, I'm just gonna.
he's like staring daggers at you. His eyes are on me
Oh.
now. I got him, guys. I got him.
But oh, what did I want to say? I really liked MJ and Ned in this one, like a lot.
Yeah.
Hold on,
You know
wait.
what? Let's talk about the Chekhov's non-gun.
His what?
The Chekhov's non-gun in Ned's house. You see how they panned over to those knives and then they panned over to the like sewing machine with the green stuff.
Did
Like
I
the
miss
green-
something?
I thought that was.
Apparently.
I
And
thought
then
that
that was like, I thought it was gonna be deep foreshadowing because you know how like Ned Flanders in a
Ned
spider.
Flanders?
Ned Flanders.
Ned Leeds.
The Simpsons character.
Howdy, neighbor.
That was bad. That was bad.
Yeah, the hobgoblin.
Yeah, was the hobgoblin.
Right.
So I was like, ooh, are we gonna get, not that I was like, we should get that in this movie, but
Oh
I thought it was going to
gosh.
lead into that.
They-
and it never did.
Well, they played with that a lot because there was all that talk about like, oh yeah, my best friend turned evil and tried to kill me.
Yeah,
and
and
that
I was like,
a
oh,
little self-fulfilling
Wait,
prophecy.
Pikachu
this is the
face.
fourth movie. This is what's going to happen in the 4th movie because they don't know each other, right?
So there's nothing stopping.
There's
Ned
nothing
from
stopping Ned from
becoming the hobgoblin. But why? Like, what's his?
They're going to find something.
Listen,
What's going to be Ned's
I mean this in the
13th
nicest
reason?
way possible. I don't know how seriously I could take Ned as the hobgoblin. I think
Oh my-
as a, he'd be no
Wow.
as a villain. I think he'd be like. I think if they were to do a Ned villain arc, they need to play into the guy in the chair thing. He needs to be like the
Yes, I
tinkerer or
agree.
the hacker guy or
Mhm.
whatever. That's probably a villain somewhere. The hacker.
The hacker.
Well, because the tinkerer is a villain. Who
Sounds like a Batman. villain.
apparently he was in Homecoming. He was one of
the Tinkerer.
Marvel does this. I hate it when Marvel. My good friend Gabe from every Marvel movie ever pointed out to me that the Tinker is in fact in Homecoming.
Of course, this would be Gabe.
Marvel does this thing where they give everybody in their movies a name that's tied to a character in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Homecoming, Shocker was in that movie.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah.
The,
The
guy,
guy
with the
who
gauntlets
builds-
things.
Vulture's lackey who builds the gadgets is the Tinkerer.
That's
Oh.
horrible.
The are you familiar with Silk, the Marvel spider
Yes,
hero
I
Silk?
am.
Did you know
Uh,
that Silk is already in these movies?
Are you kidding?
Silk? I forgot her name, but she was in Far From Home. She was one of the
She
students
was one
doing
of
the
the students.
newscast.
I bet. Yep. I know
Right, and it's-
they do this.
You guys remember in Black Widow that dude who beats Red Guardian in an arm wrestling match?
Mm-hmm.
That is an X-Men named Ursa Major. What?
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the coolest one. I think so. That's actually really cool because that confirms X-Men existence in.
I mean,
Yeah,
in
it
MCU.
does.
it could, or they were just
Looking
like,
at you,
just give him a
Fox."
name.
No, it confirms X-Men.
I don't.
You think
I
Kevin
think
Feige's
if
not?
that's how they confirmed it, that is a lame
Oh,
way to confirm
wait.
it.
Speaking of
They
confirmations,
confirmed that Daredevil.
Wait,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
who's
Oh,
in
I'm
this?
sorry.
You know who's in this movie? Venom.
adrenaline momentum.
Venom.
I went really deep for that one, and Riley turned down my mic.
You know, they put a splotch of black acrylic paint from Costco on the desk, and they said Venom. Okay, listen, that was like, it genuinely just looked like black paint until it did the little squirm at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I
was
looking
that?
at?
Yeah,
But that also confirms in the Venom universe that Eddie Brock knows that Peter Parker's Spider-Man because he wouldn't be there if he didn't.
What?
Okay.
Slow
So,
down.
no.
This
He
is
knows
throwing
Spider-Man.
back.
He doesn't know Peter Parker.
but he wouldn't have been flashed into the multiverse if
oh,
he didn't
oh.
know that Peter Parker is
What?
Spider-Man. And that takes us
Oh.
back to Let There Be Carnage when he like wakes
no,
up
not
and
back
he,
to Let There Be Carnage.
and he wakes up and he's seeing like Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but he already knew that information beforehand, right? And then he's waking up, right? In the
Oh,
in the
she's
scene
so right.
and Let There Be
You're right,
Carnage.
She's so right.
Right.
You're very right.
And then because he gets not blipped, but he gets like
Yoinked.
yoinked.
Squanked.
Wait, does this mean that there was like a bunch of Uncle Bens just wandering around New
Just
York
getting
City
shot,
in
killed, stabbed.
Well, okay, so my
mugged.
headcanon is that Venom takes place in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. I think that, as far as I can tell, it does.
what?
Yeah,
What?
because listen, it for sure takes place in the
okay.
same universe as Morbius. That
That's
we can
true.
agree on.
Yes.
And in the Morbius trailer is the Oscorp building from the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Oh.
But,
Mhm.
Oh, and Morbius also has Vulture too.
Yeah, that's the
That's
confusing.
weird.
Oh.
I have no clue what's going on with Morbius.
Morbius.
And it's especially more confusing when you think about the fact that it was supposed to come out like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
What? People would have been on crack trying to figure that
for
movie out.
Black Widow
Yeah.
syndrome. For
Like,
real.
I don't. Okay, everything about Morbius makes sense except for why Vulture's there.
Yeah.
Unless it's just Michael Keaton playing another character, which it,
Please.
like I guess it could be, but
It totally
but
could.
why?
It might just be he's playing the Vulture of that universe. Like,
That's confusing.
well, okay.
Quicksilver
No,
syndrome.
I think it's
I know.
more confusing if you cast a new guy as Vulture. Because this is the problem when you have
I guess.
multiple, like, or different studios in different universes handling the same properties. Like, you sort
Talk
of,
to him.
yeah, like the audience expects you to sort of have some carryover. Like, I don't want
And-
to learn about a new Vulture.
Right, and I thought this movie was going to like very clearly and explicitly say they're all double dipping, like everything's connected. But then they sent everybody back. So I sort of was like,
Except for that symbiote.
unsure. Yeah, did you guys see the rhino start to come through?
Oh,
That was
please. No.
But it wasn't the robot
was-
rhino. It was like
it was the man in the suit.
It was comic rhino.
It was comic rhino. I was like, please, God, no. Not again.
What do you mean not again? Where was the first time?
He was in like the robot suit, but I was like,
I
I don't know if I can
Yeah.
handle the actual man in the suit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm not really like sure. I'm not sure what's going on. I thought this would answer a lot of questions, but
want my rumor?
What's your-
what my
rumor has it.
prediction is that symbiote is going to be Flash Thompson is going to attach
not
himself to
Agent
Flash
Venom.
Thompson.
Not Agent
and
Venom.
become Agent
I'm not
Venom
strong enough for Agent Venom.
because we haven't been
Listen,
introduced
This Flash
to Eddie Brock in this.
this Flash does not deserve to be Agent Venom. You know who
Of
would have
course he doesn't.
You know who would have been a bomb Agent Venom? You know exactly.
Yeah, the
who.
Amazing Spider-Man.
The Flash from
one.
Amazing Spider-Man. That's the best Flash.
Oh,
He
true.
looks like an ROTC
No
kid
one-
already.
He does, and no one can argue that is the best
I
Flash.
got him, guys.
That's the best Flash by like a long shot.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
okay, that's
The way
one
he was
thing
like,
I'll
"Oh,
say.
sorry about your uncle. You
that
beat
was
me
such
up
a
last
no,
Yeah.
that's such a good scene.
It
That's
was
such
a good scene. But I was like, dang. This weekend, you asked me for my lunch money.
Yeah. Anyways, love Flash. I don't like. This Flash is fine, but he doesn't feel. It's an interesting spin, but it's just like
He's just a douche.
I like a traditional Flash because this one like teases Peter, but I want my Flash to be like
beating the
adversarial.
crap
Yeah.
I need a belligerent Flash.
James wants to put whichever Spider-Man through the most possible pain.
I think that's an important part of the Spider-Man character. Because to me, the core message of Spider-Man, like I think every superhero has like a moral attached.
We got a hot take coming in, ladies
The
and gents.
moral of Spider-Man to me is even though it sucks a lot of the time, keep doing the right thing. I mean, it's with great power comes great responsibility.
I mean, that's
This is gonna suck major dookie, but it's the right thing to do, and therefore you have to do it, no matter how much it sucks.
Right.
So I feel like I need my Spider-Man to be down and out. You know, I need him to go through it, and I think Tom Holland in this one did. So this I love this movie. I genuinely think this is by a huge margin Tom Holland's best Spider-Man.
No, I'll agree with that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Like, my only problem with the down and out Spider-Man is I don't know how long you can sustain it. Like,
Yeah,
to me, it's very hard to see a character for that long repeatedly get shoved and pushed around.
you need to give him some wins, of course. I'm not
Yeah.
implying it should just be linear down. Like, I mean, the Andrew Garfield ones, he has some dubs in there. Like, it's peaks and valleys.
Gets girlfriend dies.
Right. Like the valleys, all I'm saying is for Spider-Man, like the peaks can be high, right? Swinging around New York, having a great time, beating up, quipping around at small time robbers. But the valley's gotta be low, you know?
Like
And
Aunt May dying in your arms low.
Oh yeah. And this I liked also the quip volume was quite high in this movie. And I
It
appreciated
was.
that. Honestly, like 95% from Andrew Garfield, but
Yes.
that's fine.
Andrew Garfield, I think, is the quippiest
The
Spider-Man.
moral of the story is Garfield carried this one.
Yeah, I was waiting for him. I was so close to leaning over to Charlie and be like, "Sing, Skinny Man."
Stop the clock.
Funny story. Earlier today, I was getting food and they were blasting the Tick Tick Boom soundtrack, and I was like,
were they saying 3090?
"Yeah, they were." It was 3090, and I was like, "I know this." And then look at us now.
Look at us now.
No, during the entire movie, whenever something cool happened, Kasey and I like jumped at each other. We're like, oh my
Yes.
God, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh
oh my
yeah,
God.
no, I like. It was so good. There was like every 5 seconds, I was like, yes.
You were so silent during the parts where you were supposed to be cheering.
Well, I don't like to. I
Not
feel.
the judgment.
James, no. Because this is the fun thing about going to a theater with James. There are rules. All right, and you got to follow them. Otherwise,
Here we
go. No
you're gone.
talking.
You're
Here
out.
we
You
go.
never go to a
Here we
movie with him
go.
again. Like, you can't talk. I was having fun with everybody while the trailers were playing, and James is like, Charlie, I'm going to need you to turn it down a little bit.
You're making me sound like a prick. Stop.
Little
It was the guy booing for Moonfall.
Can I say the trailers? Okay, first of all, maybe I was a little excited for The King's Man 3 years ago when I first saw the trailer.
I'm still hyped.
I have yet to go to a movie in the
It's
last
Rasputin.
century without a trailer for that movie.
Yes.
The amount of times I've heard that lady go, "Why are boys always so messy?" I can't get it out of my head. I hate it. Listen, unpopular opinion, Moonfall looks fun.
Oh,
You're-
God.
Dude,
Turn
okay.
his mic off.
What goes on in
Unplug
your
him.
brain, man?
Moonfall
like
looks-
what are the takes that generate from your
Moonfall looks fun.
I said, how did
you
Halle
know what looks,
Berry get roped
you know what looks
into
doggy
this?
do? You know what
Yeah.
looks like doggy do? Ambulance with the LA is red.
Okay, here's my take on
So stupid.
Oh,
on
wow.
AMBU-LA.
On AMBU-LANs.
I
Wow.
think that AMBU-LANs might actually prove to be an interesting movie, and I think that the trailer's just really bad.
I
It's
leaned
directed
over
by
to
Michael
Charlie.
Bay, so you're like
And I
starting
was-
behind the
Okay,
starting
okay,
line.
whoa. Bad Boys was really good. To be fair, this is a much more serious movie than Bad Boys.
You and the tens of people who saw Bad Boys are
You're
rallying in
crazy.
the
Whoa.
comments.
Dude, James has not lived. I'm sorry, Riley.
I'm sorry.
I felt very angry there, and I just needed to
You
express
said
some
no one
rage.
saw Bad Boys?
I'm
James,
just-
Have
I'm
you
just-
never?
I
I
haven't seen it.
can't
You
say
haven't
this.
seen.
If I
dude,
haven't
that's
seen
a
it,
Fish is gonna
classic
cut
movie.
my mic off.
If I haven't seen it, then frankly,
No, you white man,
Oh
shut
my
your
God.
mouth.
who else has seen it? Casey, don't go for my
Guys,
white
if
guilt.
we never showed James Do the Right Thing, oh my God,
I've
it
seen
was.
We've done it.
Casey, I gave you a ride.
Who's
I
Spike
gave you a
Lee?
sweater.
Who's
I
that
gave you a
guy?
career. Everything you own.
He's gaslighting me.
I will not stand for this. Clark.
He's trying to silence a black woman. You're hearing it
James,
here.
James, I have a question for you.
no.
Have you seen a movie with Denzel Washington as the lead actor?
Oh my.
I'm sure I have.
Oh.
Stop.
Oh.
Stop. Stop.
What's the plot of Training Day, James?
Stop.
Quickly.
I haven't seen that one.
Quickly.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Stop. Hold on.
Remember the Titans, James. Quickly.
I've seen that one. Denzel.
How about Equalizer? I love Equalizer.
Equalizer.
Dude, I saw the one. No, I saw this one where he's in Colombia or something, and he has to take care of a little kid, and he has to teach her how to swim because she's afraid of the gun going off. And he's like, "The bullet sets you free. The bullet sets you free." And he like shoots a gun
it
during
crack?
training. Yeah,
Is it crack that they're constantly consuming in the writer's room?
dude, Denzel Washington has the best career known to man. He's in
He
Macbeth
just
now.
gets to yell at people.
I've seen Do the Right Thing. I've seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Okay, I made you watch
I've
those.
seen-
Was Denzel Washington in Ma Rainey's Black
Google
Bottom?
says he
no.
was.
No.
Google says he was.
And
Was what role was he?
Denzel Washington? No, he was the producer for it.
Well, I've seen a movie he's
Oh.
produced, which is even better in my opinion.
He wasn't in.
That's
the
an
movie.
incorrect take.
Listen,
Okay, we've gone so far off topic. We're talking about Denzel Washington
listen, it's fine.
and his tangential connection to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
No.
Listen,
We went from Ambu ALS.
Really, the fourth Spider-Man that we should be talking about
yeah,
is
yeah.
Denzel Washington.
Listen.
Denzel
Let me just-
Washington as Miles Morales.
Can I say?
Dude, that'd be a great take if you put like 50-year-old Denzel
Denzel-
Washington in the boy and like a 16-year-old Miles Morales.
Oh my gosh.
Multiverse. Oh, go. No,
I
go
was
for
gonna
it.
say, speaking of,
Speaking
Miles
of what?
Morales.
Okay.
so we just got a live action crossover, Spidey crossover.
yes.
We have previously had a animated Spidey crossover, Into the Spider-Verse, and now next year we are getting another crossover, Into the Spider-Verse.
The Who Framed Roger Rabbit of the Spider-Verse is coming.
Into the Spider-Verse, Across the
When they
Spider-Verse
do the
Part
Well,
1.
animation will meet the real
Animated
world.
in the real
Oh, I was
world.
gonna say because you were like,
Oh,
you were
no,
like,
God.
you said we've had
God
animated,
help.
we've had live action. I was like, what else is there?
Roger
the
Rabbit,
4D
the
Spider-Man crossover.
You can smell them. Smell the desperation.
the
smell the poverty.
Smelliverse technology was huge. It's a shame it didn't
Smelliverse.
take off. Did you guys ever see Spy Kids 4 in theaters? They
No.
gave you a card, and there were certain parts in the movie
Yeah, it's like smell the car.
where it was like smell card number 4, and you'd smell it, and it was great.
That's actually how
For
we're gonna
real.
do this
It was-
Socratic cinema episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will all be mailed out.
Yeah, we're gonna attach a smell sheet. Musk. Fresh pine.
Fresh pine. You have to assign the scents to the
To
co-host.
the co-host. Take a big whiff of wrong when Charlie starts talking.
Oh my god.
That was a good one.
Dude, this is so much better when we record in person.
Oh my god.
Listen, recording over Discord is fun and convenient, but it is so much more fun for me to lie down on the carpet with my Chewbacca beanbag than it is.
My Chewbacca
Yours.
beanbag.
It's
by
mine
the way.
now. Than it is to sit hunched over your desk and like talk to the robots in Discord who might be there. You know?
No, I have to
Craig.
fend off police officers when I record Socratic cinema
Yeah,
episodes.
no.
now.
Charlie's like
Yeah,
on the
they're
run.
like, leave.
No,
Put
dude,
your
like-
mask on.
Yeah, legit. Halfway through one of our last episodes, I had to turn around and like just talk to a police officer for a little bit.
You heard it
he's
here
like,
first. Charlie's
you're-
an anti-masker.
I know. Ooh.
In the midst of Omicron, sir.
Whoa.
In the midst of the Ligma variant, really.
I've
This is
been
what we're
tested
doing.
more than any of you. I'll say that.
Probably.
And
Wait,
I,
do you
I
have
also am for masks. I would like to clarify.
yeah. All right. Can I say that the lizard's model looked like Dookie in this movie?
When he did when he climbed out of the water and did the scream, I was like, oh no.
It looked worse than it did in Amazing Spider-Man.
Here's my
Yeah.
take.
Why did they give him pointy teeth in
I
this
loved
one?
it.
to make him scarier.
Yeah, but it looked weird whenever he talked. He was like,
Well, it's because his entire head
And he
is
has a
his mouth.
British accent.
yeah.
Like-
well, he always had that.
No, yeah, I know, but like,
because in the movie,
That's how British people actually look, by the way. He wanted to turn the
they're
world
just
British.
lizard
Yeah.
people?
Yeah.
in the Amazing Spider, he also had these weird ridges
Oh
on his
my
head in this one.
Mhm.
But in the Amazing Spider-Man, he has a very distinct Kurt Connors voice and a distinct lizard voice. Like when he's
yeah,
talking
the
like
lizard is all like gravelly.
right. In this one, they just had him like the already kind of bad looking lizard model would just open his mouth and it was just like a clean British voice came
Yeah.
out. And it was just a little
It's like when they
weird.
voice over dogs in movies.
Yeah, that the mouth and the words just really didn't
I
line
think
up.
also like the depth perception of him being in a dark like jail cell
he's
the entire
bright
time,
green.
and he's bright green, and it just made his face look really flat and
Yeah.
his mouth look really wide.
Yeah, the lizard, this is not his best look.
No, it was disturbing. Like to see his mouth move like that, and it added a lot to the character for me.
Really.
How
Willem
awful
Dafoe
the
still
model
got him
was.
beat though.
I'd like
With
to
that
point
wide
out.
mouth.
I'd like to point out a large continuity error. The lizard cure is supposed to be blue gas, and it was green in this
Okay.
movie.
Speaking of continuity,
James hasn't
errors,
seen a woman in
So-
there's
12
a,
years.
Shut up. There's a lot of them in this movie,
because
though.
his first line at dates is,
Oh.
"Excuse me, ma'am.
No,
Oh my
listen,
god.
listen.
Did you know that in the Amazing Spider-Man 1?"
If I meet a girl and her favorite Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield, there's gonna be a date too. Is all I'm gonna say on the matter.
But that will happen.
Dang.
You can't say that because the only time that you would not have a girl on date 2 based on their favorite Spider-Man choice is like if they chose Tom Holland. Because you have a vendetta against that man. For,
No,
did
honestly,
he kill
is
your
it
dog?
No, if
dude?
they
Is
like-
this a
if-
Keanu Reeves
If they
type
like
thing?
Spider-Man at all, there's probably gonna be a date too. It doesn't really.
Really?
The bar's pretty low.
Viewers.
No, they're like my favorite Spider-Man movie's Homecoming.
I'll be like, for real?
And then she wouldn't go on a date.
No,
too.
if she says Homecoming is fine. If she
If
says
a man says
Hey,
for real
fellas.
to one of my movie choices,
fellas, if
Your
she say
favorite
Far From
movie is
Home's her
American
favorite Spider-Man,
Psycho.
run. I'm gonna keep it. I said the funniest thing in my life yesterday, which is that if a girl ever asks you what your favorite movie is, just say La La
La
Land.
That was a
Land.
great take.
That
Play
was
it
a great
safe,
take.
bro.
No.
La La Land will never fail you.
No, dude, I've had to run into that because now I'm at like the cinema school and you need to have
Yeah.
good picks. I say The Prestige is my favorite movie, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "It's by Christopher Nolan," and they're like, "Oh, the guy that did Dunkirk." I'm like, "Yeah,
Dunkirk. I'd be like,
Dunkirk?
I'd be like,
Dunkirk
Tenet?
over.
So James is correct. Just say La La Land, and you're fine.
Because it's just artsy enough to be like, oh, this guy
It's
knows what he's talking
respectable.
about. But it's also just like mainstream enough that they've probably seen it.
No, the real like alt rocker pick is Dear Evan Hansen now.
No, it is
No.
not.
sir.
If it's
If
Dear
you-
Evan
What are
Hansen,
you
If
run
talking
you
away.
come to me
about?
and you say
Run
your favorite
away.
Pasek and Paul is Dear Evan Hansen, I
Red
think that's a hot take.
Red
That's a
flag.
red flag.
That's
No.
such a hot
That's
take.
redder than The Greatest Showman, bro.
I love The
Like,
Greatest Showman. Who wants to fight me right now? I will
Another-
sock anyone.
another
No, it was-
safe.
Oh, Riley has.
If
Riley
He's
going
challenged me.
we're gonna
turn
start
into
straying
Willem
into
and put the
we're,
mitts to
we're
it.
gonna start being misogynistic if this thread goes any further.
What?
Listen, like I'm just saying, we have to be.
Whoa.
Because I was gonna make a joke about Scott Pilgrim, and I decided to bet against it at the last second.
Wow. You could
Wow.
say Scott Pilgrim's your favorite movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they have dyed hair, you should say
No?
Scott Pilgrim. see,
my mom with dyed hair and her favorite movie Scott
Is it Scott Pilgrim? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Joe James, I got a meme to show you after the podcast.
Wow. I have a meme to show you after the podcast.
Kasey hands me a notice that says you've been kicked off the show.
You've been kicked off the show. You've been served.
No, Kasey had a meme to show us before the podcast.
Oh yeah. Let's
That
not
was
talk.
fun.
Riley's
I'm
laughing. We
great.
got it.
If this video gets to 2,000 views, we will officially reveal
No,
the
we
meme.
won't.
Let this podcast be 2 hours. I could keep going. We could keep.
Yeah, what's the time at
are we
right now?
at?
70 minutes?
And I'm not even mad. Like I've genuinely, because normally I'm sort of like 50 minutes in and out.
Yeah.
Nah.
No.
No, we're
A
in the
movie
flow
like
zone.
this- We're in the flow zone. This hasn't happened in a while. This is big.
Oh,
I mean,
my
but do you guys
goodness.
have any other takes about the movie?
Do you want to talk about the ending scene,
What does that mean?
Oh,
which
the-
was the trailer for Multiverse
Oh,
of
I thought you were gonna talk
Madness?
about the Your Name scene at the end of the movie. Yeah, have you seen Your Name?
No.
What?
The anime movie Your Name.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
I haven't. I don't
Sorry,
like to cry, James.
Oh well, no, it's a
Dang.
movie where they like the boy and the girl like get their memory wiped at the end, and then at the very last scene is they like see each other across the street, and they're like, "Have I seen you before?"
Oh yeah.
And then they're like,
You're a masochist, man.
and then they're like, "Oh, like what's your name?" And then the movie ends.
Wow. See, a silent voice ruined me.
I saw it finally.
How did you like it? On a side note.
I liked it. And anyways, okay.
Yeah.
No, oh my gosh, the ending scene of this movie, by the way, is so good. Genuinely, it is like possibly one of my favorite ways a Spider-Man movie has ended ever. And because here's what I like about. I think the reason I like this movie is because it feels like a Maguire movie, but of course it has like the cosmic-y Marvelness to it, right? Like
Mhm.
it's just like if Marvel did a Maguire movie or a Garfield movie, because like it ends
Or
with
just a Spider-Man movie.
yeah, if they
Marvel
did a
Spider-Man
proper yeah, because it ends with him having to like, she's like, oh, is there anything else you wanted to add? And he says no.
Oh, so
That
good.
is when I
Yeah.
knew. I was like, all right, you win.
because that
Melancholic, self-denying hero. I'm in.
yeah,
Strap me in.
that really touches on your point that like he chose not to bring her
Yeah.
back into it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wow.
Oh yeah. He's my
Mhm.
boy's grown up now.
Dang. I love how he was just like looking at Ned and he was like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fine.
dang. Like, okay.
Okay.
See, this is why Ned's
Zendaya?
gonna try to kill you in the next
Zendaya
movie.
looked so young in this movie.
Yeah.
She was a woman in Dune. Like, but she looked
Yeah, she was.
for all five. But you know, for all 5 minutes she was
For
in.
all five. I don't wanna-
Finally, something we can
I don't
agree
wanna
on.
By
talk
the
about
way,
it.
I've been listening to the audiobook of Dune. I don't think I'm gonna like part 2 that much. Things
Really?
get a little bananas. But that's a podcast for 2022. Multiverse of Madness looks hype.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about it. I think
Charlie looks conflicted.
I
on it.
wasn't.
I
I
don't know.
wanted.
I wasn't hyped.
some crazy Wanda, and I don't think I was gonna get it. Cause when we ended off WandaVision, she was doing hoodoo voodoo in the
Voodoo,
woods,
voodoo.
and now all of a sudden she's trimming her trees.
Well,
like, what happened?
here's a theory.
What therapy? Did you go on Talkspace, Wanda?
I think she
What
she went
happened?
on
What
better.
is Talkspace?
She went on BetterHelp.
What are you two talking about?
Talkspace is like online.
Oh, Charlie's not
therapy.
ill. Charlie's not ill
Yeah,
enough.
she's not ill enough.
Charlie's not ill
For
enough.
real.
But we might get it. That might be an illusion, a trick,
Right.
perhaps, of
She
the
might be-
multiverse. She. I think she's probably crazy.
Why is America Chavez in that movie?
Is that America Chavez?
I'm pretty sure.
Or is it like Miss Marvel or something?
That is not Miss Marvel. That's America Chavez. I'm like 90%
Again,
sure it's
you
America
and the
Chavez.
10 America Chavez fans out there.
I've
are-
never read an America. All I know is that I read something that America Chavez is in it. Isn't she just like
Okay.
Captain America but smaller?
Yeah, I've read a lot of crazy stuff about
Petite
Multiverse of
Captain.
Madness. I have read that basically any character you can possibly imagine, I've seen a leak that they're going to be in it. So,
Loki's
Oh,
probably
geez.
going to be
so
in it.
who knows who's in it? I've heard people be claiming that Professor X is going to be in it. So,
Yes, sir.
I heard people saying Ultron's going to be in it.
Not
so,
Ultron,
no,
not
so
again.
anything can
Not
happen.
again.
All the cards are on the table. But it looks good.
I don't like evil Stephen Strange as the villain.
Okay,
I don't think
feel
he's going to
like
be the main
why
villain.
in the world. Okay. Let me just say this.
Break it down.
Speak your truth.
We got evil Stephen Strange in What If.
Say it.
So
I'm speaking on you. Keep going.
do this.
If you
So
say
why?
anything very personal to James, that's what he does. James,
So-
why?
So why would we want that in Multiverse of Madness? Like it makes
Preach.
sense, but like I feel like it cheapens it either way. Like you should have just saved. You should have just
Casey
saved
is gesturing
it.
like she's doing spoken word.
You should have either saved it in What If or put it solely in.
Wow.
Casey said, "Put it in what if there was a better movie. Movie is what I'm going to say."
Oh my god.
We'll talk about it on the podcast. Podcast is the show you're watching. Turn back time. Time running out of time. Time's up. Why?
I know you didn't cut his mic off.
Eyes,
Bastard.
eyes up.
Eyes up in the eye of the hurricane.
There is quiet.
Quiet.
No, guys, we don't have the rights for that.
We're getting too deep.
We're getting too-
Okay,
The
We're
multiverse is
spiraling.
disintegrating.
This is what happens when we go
It's-
over 15 minutes.
it's time to stop the clock. I just want to point out,
Stop the clock.
Matt Murdock was in this movie for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
And
that
he ate.
He did.
He did
but
You
eat.
why?
thought you ate? Keep the plate. Keep the plate. Keep eating. Keep the plate. Like
Seconds.
seconds. Give this man seconds.
Give this man seconds.
Yo, it's
Bring
buffet
him
style.
another. When he caught that break and he's like, "I'm just a good lawyer," you liar.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're telling me Luke Cage is wandering around?
You're telling me
Show him.
Iron Fist, the
No,
hero I feel
no,
the
screw
yuckiest
that.
about.
Screw
no,
that.
no
We ain't
one,
talking
no
about Iron
hero
Fist.
makes me more uncomfortable than Iron Fist because
He
it's
said
like it's
cultural
like
appropriation
right. It's like
poster boy.
mystical Eastern like kung fu powers. White ass guy, you know.
He got the
and
white
he's
man
super
afro
rich.
too.
Like that's his other thing is that he's like daddy's
Is
boy.
he? Oh
Yeah.
my
Yes.
gosh! I've been letting the
And he's
language
like,
slip a
oh,
little
let me
this
learn
episode.
kung fu
I'm sorry.
and go get beat up by people and go back to my mansion.
Okay,
I
listen.
choose to live in a brownstone.
Listen. We need to stop, or we'll never stop. Children are dying, and we're sitting here talking about Iron Fist.
You brought it up.
I brought it up.
You
This is
did
my
this.
responsibility. Who am I? Spider-Man.
Okay.
Listen,
All right.
the fact that they brought back the Andrew Garfield theme and the Tobey Maguire theme, it's a 10 out of 10. There's no other rating I could give it.
I love Danny
Mhm.
Elfman.
Danny Elfman. All right.
And
I
Hans
need to
Zimmer.
stop. Listen,
Spiel
I'm
zone
sorry.
time.
how long has it been? 80 minutes? Thank you for sticking. Wow. Thank you for sticking. That's not, honestly, there's longer podcasts out there.
Well, Joe
I listen
Rogan
to
just
them.
like leaves it on for 4 hours.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Thank you for sticking with us through that. This is possibly the most fun I've had doing an episode in the last since ever. So I really hope you enjoyed this one. It's been a lot of fun recording with the gang, as you can hopefully tell. If you liked the episode, feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube if that's where you're watching. Drop a like or a dislike because it doesn't matter anymore. Go ahead and comment. Let us know what you thought of Spider-Man No Way Home. If you're listening on Spotify, you can follow so you never miss an episode. Listen on Apple Podcasts, drop a review, tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what you want to see more of. If you feel like supporting the show monetarily, you can become a patron at patreon.com/Socratic Cinema. 'Tis the season to be generous with your money. For as little as $1 a month.
James said Spider-Man might be poor. Do not make me.
For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to. What can you get access to, Kasey?
Episodes early.
Charlie?
If I remember to put them up on time.
What's another thing we can get access to, Charlie?
Some other stuff probably.
You can ask us
Perks.
questions on
Oh, yeah.
perks.
If you pay us enough money.
Care to elaborate what perks are?
Well, you get access to episodes early. If you pay more money, then you can
Cut. You can become a patron at patreon.com/Socratic Cinema. You can ask us questions to be answered live on air. You can vote on what episodes we do. You can get access to podcasts.
You can
You can
choose. what episodes
choose.
we do.
Unless there's enough patrons to make a vote work, you can just pick.
Yep.
You can just
pick.
tell us what
we
to
can't
watch.
tell you no.
But seriously, if all jokes here, if you feel so inclined to give, it would mean the world to us. Every single one of our patrons means more than we will ever be able to say. It's bonkers that we get to do this and you guys support us doing it. So seriously, if you would like to become a patron, the option's there. If not, no harm, no foul, like at all. Thank you again for listening. If you enjoy the show, please be sure to share it with friends. Help get the word out about Socratic Cinema. Cinema is what we talk about.
No, don't. I saw.
I just had to
knew
throw
it
a
was
little one in
coming.
there. I'm kind of riffing today. That's all she wrote, I think.
Yep, let's whip it out of here.
Adios.